Anxiety is not just worry. Anxiety is a future oriented fear. And it's a state of mind where you anticipate danger even when danger is not present. That is the definition of anxiety, and that's how you differentiate between the two.
Hello, and welcome to Spirit in Mind, where we discuss current affairs with faith and mental health perspectives. I'm Bishop Guy Robinson, and I want to thank you for joining us for another installment of Spirit in Mind. Grateful also, as always, to have my colleague and co-host with us who's coming to greet us, Dr. Jonathan Shepard. Hello, Dr. Shepard.
Hey, Bishop Robinson, and greetings to all of our podcast viewers and watchers and those on YouTube and other platforms. It is great to be once again in whatever space that you're listening to us. We greet you.
Absolutely. And if you're joining us for the first time, we certainly want to invite you to look at other podcasts as our previous podcast, even as we thank you for joining us today. We certainly want to invite you to watch some of our other podcasts, because today is a continuation. And you're fine. You can pick up and continue right here. But just for context, we're continuing on a subject that is so very important. And we're talking about men's health, and particularly men's mental health. And if you will, men's psycho-spiritual health, spiritual and mental health. And so today we're going to be continuing that conversation again. So even if you are watching and you're not a man, but you are connected to a man, a brother, a cousin, an uncle, a father, a spouse. So listen, we believe that there's something helpful in our discussion today that we can bring and that you can bring, because we also welcome your feedback through our venues of response. So stay tuned. Let's go with us as we talk about men's mental health. And Dr. Shepard's going to get us started.
Yes, thank you once again. And we're going to go ahead and get jumped in. Just want to make sure people know that you can reach out to us at spiritandmindhealth@gmail.com, spiritandmindhealth@gmail.com. That's health, HEALTH, not help, but spiritandmindhealth@gmail.com. And again, hit us up even on our platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Those are some of our major platforms. And just be respectful also in your comments. We have a lot of people commenting, Bishop, and we just always encourage people to be thoughtful, insightful, and respectful in their comments. And so just want to put that out there verbally also. We're going to continue our conversation about different disorders that affect men. Now, these disorders are not just limited to men, but we're going to be looking at from the male perspective and from how these particular disorders impact our men. We're doing this because May was Mental Health Awareness Month, and June is also Men's Health Month. And in particular, we are talking about the mental health. You cannot have health without mental health. For mental health is the state of well-being where every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and able to make a contribution to his or her community. So you cannot have health without your mental health being intact. And in particular, we're going to look at the disorder of anxiety. Anxiety is the most common mental health diagnosis in the United States of America. At one point, it used to be the most common mental health diagnosis just amongst children and adolescents. But after the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and the results of that, it is now the most common mental health diagnosis amongst all living persons, children, adolescents, and adults. The pandemic did a number on us, and people are still suffering from anxiety. Um, and let me tell you, anxiety is okay to have. The issue is it becoming a disorder? So I just want to make a distinguish there before we go further. Um, Anxiety is okay to have, period. The issue is when anxiety becomes a disorder. And let me just look at what the definition of anxiety to really keep it real. Anxiety is more than just worry. Anxiety is not just worry. Anxiety is a future oriented fear. And it's a state of mind where you anticipate danger even when danger is not present. Wow. So that is the definition of anxiety, and that's how you differentiate between the two. So anxiety is future oriented fear, a future oriented fear response. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So it's okay to have the future oriented fear response, but when it dictates how you respond on a normal basis, on a routine basis, that's when it becomes a disorder. A disorder is something that causes you not to be able to function properly. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what some of those signs and symptoms that look of anxiety. But I want Bishop to jump in to see if there's anything he wants to add on in response to how we're laying the foundation here.
Yeah, I think that that's an important thing to remember where we are, and to kind of, even if you will, pause there, to reflect on that the distinction, because one way to perhaps think about it philosophically and anthropologically as well as theologically, in some ways, it's argued that anxiety is part of the human condition. We all have that. So this distinction between worry and anxiety and disorder is important here, because it's part of the human condition. In some ways, it's meant to kind of alert us to possibilities so that we are prepared for possible outcomes. But I think of it sometimes as like an overactive friend or an overactive or oversensitive, in fact, kind of thing that becomes so prevalent that it's disruptive. And so, in fact, sometimes that's the way to talk to it, if you will. I know you're trying to help, but this is not helpful. Uh, you're trying to make me aware of a potential situation, and so your intention may be to make me aware of something, but you're actually debilitating me or disrupting my ability to function. And so I think that's an important distinction to make, because anxiety is part of the human condition. That's been argued from multiple persons. But the level of it, the intensity of it, the disruptive nature of it is what we are going to be addressing today. Thank you, Dr. Shepard.
Yeah, and when you talk about the disruptive nature of anxiety, let's look at what it can do. So I'm going to share with you just some of the impact, if you would, of anxiety. Number one, it can cause hypervigilance. Number two, it can cause catastrophic thinking. Number three, avoidance. Number four, physiological distress. So if I go back to that, hypervigilance, that means a person's always on edge. There's never a time when the person is relaxed, or I won't even say never a time, but they're more on edge than relaxed. It's very difficult for them to relax. And so they're very jumpy. They hear a noise and they're wondering, oh my God, like what's about to happen next? Am I about to be hurt? Is somebody about to shoot me? Um, you can be hyper vigilant, not even due to noise. You can do the smells. You can even be hyper vigilant when you see certain people walk in. I've seen that when a person walks in, they go, "Oh my God, I'm in trouble." The person hasn't even opened up their mouth. you know.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And context, the context is significant too, even in terms of maladaptive behaviors. Meaning, um, uh, if a person is, let's say, for example, if a person is, even with hypervigilance, if a person is hypervigilant in a combat situation,
Mhm.
that can be helpful.
Mhm.
Uh, to a degree. Hypervigilance, if it's a twig snapping, it could be, it could be an animal or it could be an adversary. So that hypervigilant characteristic can be adaptive in an environment, but when it is in another environment, it's disruptive. It can affect home, family, children, relationships, and so that adaptive pieces in there to that environmental factors and all those things are all part of the conversation today, Dr. Shepard.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're hypervigilant, you got a weapon in your hand, and you don't take the time to figure out what has happened or what is about to happen, you'll shoot and then ask questions later. And
Exactly.
as we know, and I said it like that because as we know, for certain cultural and ethnic groups, we have been penalized and we have been destroyed because of that type of attitude. And so, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I'm going to back out of that lane, Bishop, because there's a whole other lane that I could go down regarding that, how people look at you, make assumptions, and just be on edge. And
Yeah.
a lot of that has to do with anxiety. A lot of that has to do with anxiety. And then next one is catastrophic thinking. Always thinking the worst. Very difficult for that person to be positive. They receive an email. They again, hypervigilance and catastrophic thinking go hand in hand. So you see email from a person. Oh my God, what happened next? Um, the person who's always looking for the shoe to drop, as they say. Now, again, as Bishop said, that in certain situations that can be beneficial. But when you live your life continuously like that, always looking for the shoe to drop or looking for the next thing to happen, that's a negative experience in your life. That's called catastrophic thinking. Mhm.
It's fascinating to me how this exemplifies the mind body connection. Because again, my mind is taking me into a future oriented scenario. Whether it's catastrophic thinking, I'm thinking worst case scenario in the imminent future, and so my mind is taking me to the future, but my body is responding. My sympathetic nervous system and so I'm having physiological responses to a state of mind that is future oriented on something that hasn't happened. But in my mind, it's going on and my body is responding to it. So there's a profound mind body connection here. And that's important because sometimes we over compartmentalize. But this
Mhm.
is an example of how these things are very interdependent and interconnected here. And anxiety is one of those examples.
Yeah, yeah. And so when you look at hypervigilance, catastrophic thinking, then you add to the pot avoidance. So avoidance, when people are anxious, they tend to shy away from certain events or certain people or certain situations. Um, they have difficulty confronting what they need to confront. So the inability to confront something when you know that it needs to happen. Um, Anxiety disorders are one of the things that will prevent families from being able to deal with difficult situations that are occurring within their household, friendships, relationships, employer employee relationships. Um, and then there is even a form of a phobia called agoraphobia, where people have fear of leaving their home, fear of going outside. So they avoid contact with other people. Uh, Sometimes it's fear of, sometimes it deals with social anxiety. Sometimes it's fear of germs or fear of just having to uh, talk to other people, which could be a form of social anxiety. But yeah, it's avoidance is huge. So we got hypervigilance, we got catastrophic thinking. Bishop, we got avoidance. People just don't want to confront stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And these, hopefully, these are helping us to understand some of the symptoms. And again, I've said in our previous podcast, it really does. It takes courage. Speaking of avoidance, to kind of confront, and confront doesn't necessarily mean, sometimes when you say confront, people hear combat. And so, but it means just to face and acknowledge and deal with something that needs to be dealt with, whether it's a difficult conversation, a difficult topic, a difficult meeting. But it takes courage to do that. And maybe not even always fearlessness. Some people make a distinction between that, because courage means I'm feeling some apprehension, I'm feeling some concern, I'm feeling maybe I'm somewhere on the anxiety continuum, but it's not debilitating. It's not preventing me from doing this thing that needs to be done, to realize my potential, to work productively, to contribute to community, and to effectively cope with what I'm dealing with. I have to face this thing. And so one of my prayers for anybody who's watching that has to have a difficult conversation or go to a difficult meeting or raise a difficult subject is that that the Lord will give you courage to face what needs to be faced. Absolutely.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at Spirit in Mind, and we're also on Instagram at Spirit in Mind Live. Join us next time for a new episode of Spirit in Mind.